that here in New York State. But why do candidates for office talk about that? Because when you do, it chips away at the special interests that comprise the core of all their support. Well, guess what? I'm not getting that special interest vote. The public employee union leaders aren't supporting me. That's for the other guy. So I got the freedom to say it like it is. I'm going for that 80% in the middle. The average taxpayer, whether they're Republican, conservative, Democrat, independent, they're all in the same boat. They're losing their homes. They're worried about their pensions. They're worried about putting their kids through college. They're saying we want someone with backbone who'll say it like it is. And that's exactly what we're doing. I'm going to conclude with this. Back in 1994, Newt Gingrich and the Republicans put out a contract for America. Maybe you liked it, maybe you didn't like it, but one thing you have to say, they laid it out there. We're going to get welfare reform, we're going to get measures to close the deficit. They won, and they got a mandate to do these things, and that's why they were able to institute some of those changes. In 1980, Ronald Reagan ran with a mandate for cutting the size of government and spending, and he won. And remember something, he was up against a Democratic Congress led by Tip O'Neill, but he got his program through just the same because he ran with a mandate. You have to run on a specific list of items that you espouse to the public so that when you win, you have the public wins behind you. Because change is not going to come easy to Albany. When I get into office, the first thing I will do is declare a state of emergency. This is point one within my plan, my contract for New York. That will enable us to open up the contracts just like they did in New York City when they were on the verge of bankruptcy back in the 1970s. The state came in and put in place a financial control board. Why? Because the city leaders couldn't get their act together. They didn't have the courage to do what they had to do. So the state came in and said, we're putting in a financial control board. We're opening up the contracts. We're getting give-backs. We're going to control the spending, put in caps. That's what we're going to do in the state of New York, because let me tell you, they're not getting their act together either in the state of New York. There was a poll a couple of months ago, weeks ago actually, amongst who you're going to vote for, they asked, because of what's happened in the last year in Albany, are you embarrassed to call yourself a New Yorker? Did anybody see that poll?
Yes.
A majority said yes. That's scary stuff. When you become the butt of late-night comedians' jokes, I'm running to make you proud of your state again. We're going to declare this fiscal emergency. We're going to open up these contracts. We're going to put freezes in place. I'm going to seek to have 10% powers to impound 10% of all the funds within the budget, as I do as a county executive, to keep my deficits in check and create surpluses. I want a hard spending cap, finally, a hard spending cap in New York State. And once we do that, we will be able to have the moral authority to put in place a cap on spending at the local level, a cap on property taxes on the local level. All right? Extraordinary times, and they require extraordinary measures. Now is the time to implement these things. I'm going to seek a waiver of the capital gains taxes so that we can inspire and incentivize our entrepreneurs, our venture capitalists to invest in upstate New York firms so that we can spark the economy through the private sector. Because let me tell you, government doesn't get you out of a recession. It's private jobs that do it, and you have to give the incentive to make that happen. I'm just going to let you know two other things about me. What I've been known for outside of my area, besides being a fiscal hawk who has cut spending in 3 out of the 6 years, unlike New York State, where they increased spending by 70% over the last decade. I've been known as someone who's been opposed to illegal immigration, and I only bring that up because it'll further enforcing the rule of law. How many of you agree with me that legal immigration is a good thing? Okay? Legal immigration helps make this country great. How many of you think illegal immigration is a good thing? Okay? Maybe 1 or 2. But that's what the overall population is. 80, 90% of the public agrees with that sentiment. Wrap it up? Okay. Last thing I'll say is, I'm a patriot, and I love this country, and I'm going to do my darndest in this election to make sure that you can be proud of your state again. Before I entered this race, this was a done deal. It was a coronation. No longer. When we get into this race come the fall, the people are going to have a clear choice. There's only one candidate running for governor who has been an executive, who has balanced budgets, who has extracted concessions from unions, who is taking on special interests, who has cut a tax, who has taken deficits and turned them into surpluses. Isn't that the type of skill set we need in New York State right now? We're ready. We're going to change this state radically. With your help, we're going to make it happen.